What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel, the documentation series that we started roughly 30 days ago. And we're going to discuss everything we've done so far, the results, how we've gotten here, etc. Now, I know I didn't get you guys a video yesterday. I was actually traveling. I was driving from all the way from South Florida all the way to New York. So it was 2 days of driving. I did 20 hours. So I didn't have a chance to get a video out to you yesterday. But here we are on the account. I think from the last video, we were at 23.3. So we're at 23.6. I'm going to run you guys through the play that we took that I didn't get to cover yet. Because as I've talked to you guys since we started this, I want to document every single trade from start to finish of this series. So in the last video, we did discuss this MSTX play in which we sold for $1,300, bought back for $490. So we profited $810 off that. And now this is the play that we did not get to discuss at all. So we sold it for, what did we sell it for? We sold it for 252 plus 266, whatever that equals, and then bought back for 294. So I think the profit was anywhere between 200 and 300. Now let's run through the play, why we took it, and all that good stuff. So we looked at Clean Spark because of the fact that it had earnings this week, right? It had earnings on Monday. So that was the reasoning for closing our MSTX play and then taking the Clean Spark play. Now, when you see these white lines, the white lines indicate our strikes on these plays. So here's the thing, guys, right? If we pull up MSTX, so remember this number, $2.45. That's what we bought it back at. Now let's look at what it's currently sitting at. And the reason why I want to show you guys is because, you know, statistics show, right, that people who take less trades a lot of times do better than people who take more trades. So look at this, right? Right now that put is worth $1.30, and we had either, I think, 2, right? We had 2 on it. So we bought it back for, right, $2.45, so $1.30. So that would be $115 times by 2. So $230. So we would have made $230 more had we still been in this position and closed it at the moment. Now we actually profited, I guess, $290 or something like that, 2 something. So it ended up being a wash, right? We ended up making the same amount as we would have just stayed in this. But the reason why I'm talking about all this is because this CLSK play, this Clean Spark play, brought me a lot more stress, right? So there was moments where I would have been up more just holding this MSTX, even though at this point it all ended up evening out. You know, there was a lot of moments where I realized I was better off just staying in that position. You know, prime example would be if we go in this lower time frame. When the earnings reports first came out, first of all, I saw they missed earnings, which, you know, upset me just because obviously crypto's been doing great. But then I realized that this is for the quarter before. So I'm sure next quarter it's going to have to beat earnings because of how great crypto's been. But when it was first all the way down here, I was down, you know, 1,000, 2,000 on the position. Now, obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because if I hold all the way through expiration, I collect premium and then it's just wherever the stock is. But it was definitely very nerve-wracking. Now, luckily, it did end up coming back up. And then today gave us this chance to exit and make, you know, $200, $300. Now, you know, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. It could have just continued going down. And I'm prepared for that. Now, the beautiful part, right, is when you look at our strike when we entered the trade, right, we entered it. It was somewhere up here. So the strike was 10%. So it gave us 10% of leeway, right? Like we were 10% below where the stock was trading. So no matter what, we would have been buying for, you know, a relative discount. And that's the thing with selling puts, right? Is obviously you guys have noticed if you've been watching charts for a long period of time like I have, you know, stocks always retrace. Every instrument always retraces. Like very rarely does something go straight up or straight down. So when you're giving yourself 10, 20% of room, you know, you have these moments where it does something like this, right? Shoots way below and then comes back up. And that's the beauty of selling options is these movements destroy the premiums, which is what we want as option sellers. So that was the basic of the play. Like I said, there was moments where we were really down bad. Let's see if this chart will show. This is December 3rd. So yeah, exactly, right? So like, you know, when we got out of that play, the MSTX play, we were at 23.4. And then there was moments where it closed at 22.9. And it went even lower, but it closed the day at 22.9. And then, of course, brought us back up. And now here we are right now. So again, you know, you don't actually lose the money, but, you know, if you bought, in my case, 1,400 shares at $13.50, and it's all the way down to 1250, you're down 1400, and then there's the 500 premium, so I would have been down 900 on that position. At that point, now you're just praying for it to go back up, which of course in this case it did. We didn't have to buy, we just collected some premium. And then I got out, and the reason why I got out, right, instead of holding this until Friday, and it's the same reason why I got out of this MSTX play, is because I just don't love where Bitcoin's at right now. I think Bitcoin's at a little bit of a, it obviously made a huge move up, and now as you see, it failed to make a new high, which makes me question if Bitcoin's going to go back down and then come back up again, or make the next move. So I don't really want to be selling options on crypto stocks at this moment, right? Like I got out unscathed with MSTX and CleanSpark. To be completely honest with you guys, when I took the CleanSpark play and then it missed earnings and then I saw the Bitcoin chart, I was like, what the hell did I do? Because I do think Bitcoin is due for a correction, right? I'm a bull on crypto. I know a lot of you guys who have been YOLOing and aping are going to get very offended when I say that Bitcoin's going to have to come back down. But that's just how the market moves, right? Like, look at the freaking move it made up, right? It's going to have to come back down. If we go to the weekly time frame, it's just due to come back a little bit, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to completely crash, but as a trader, you have to recognize when it's a good buy, when it's a good sell, and when it's a good time to really do nothing. Now, I'm not the type that would ever short crypto. I've tried it in the past. I'm never going to do it again. But I wouldn't be surprised if we at least come back, towards these ranges and then make the next move. So I'm not even here to predict it. For me, if crypto does make the next move, I'd be very happy, as a majority of my, savings is crypto. It's just more of what I see on the chart, what I think is going to happen. And at this moment, to me, it just wouldn't make sense for me to sell options on crypto stocks. I already did MSTX this week. I already did CleanSpark. If crypto does a little bit of a retracement and then start heading back up, then I'll look to get back into these types of stocks. So those are those plays that we didn't get to cover over the last 2 days, and now we're here on DocuSign. Now I do want to discuss, there was one other play that I wanted to take, or two actually. This one being Marvel, which obviously had earnings and had a great earnings report, right? So I did want to sell puts on Marvel, and if we did, we would have been able to collect the full premium today. So we did miss out on a few hundred, because I think the puts that I was going to sell would have been 500. So I ended up making 200 off CleanSpark, but I would have made 300 more if I took Marvel instead. It is what it is. That's just how the market goes. The other play that we discussed on this channel but didn't actually get a chance to take was Chewy. And that's why, you have to take what it is, right? Because I wanted to take Chewy, which I discussed on Sunday. Didn't actually take it, and then it dumped 10% in earnings. So the premium still did take a dump, right? The premium we still would be up if we would have sold like the 30 puts or the 29, which was our plan, right? They still went down 30-40% today. So we still would have made some money, but who the heck wants to be involved in that type of mess, right? When you pull up this chart, it's like, I don't even really want to be involved in this, truthfully. Maybe when Chewy starts to bounce, then we can consider taking a play. But the only reason it was even on our watch list is because of earnings making the premiums go up, right? And that's how we've seen these results, right, over the last 30 days. We're up 18% in 30 days, which is just unbelievable, right? And the beautiful part is, like, yes, we've taken some risky stocks and we've taken some risky earnings, but we've never really had to be in such a position to be super risky, because even the earnings reports that didn't go in our favor, since the premiums dumped, we still had opportunities to get out and take profit and get out unscathed. Like I said, there has been moments where it made us hold our breath, but compared to really any other form of trading, it's been a relatively seamless growth on this journey. And if you don't believe me, go back to the first episode on this channel and watch all of them, right? So at this point, here we are on DocuSign. We're at the 78 strikes. So let's just pull up the chart, and that'll be how we'll wrap up this video. So in terms of how we're able to, feel stress-free while taking earnings plays, first of all, DocuSign's a great company. It's been around for a long time, right? Like if we go and look at their earnings reports, I mean, you can't even see a missed earnings on, in terms of this stock, in terms of, what TradingView's tracking. But also it's like, when we're getting these strike prices that are low, right? Like, and that's the beautiful part about earnings is, like, since the premiums are inflated, it's giving us the ability to take strikes that are far, right? Like if you were a trader and you were looking to buy a stock, like that's the way you should be when you're doing cash secured puts. You should be looking at prices you would want to buy at from a technical perspective, right? So it's like you see a gap up. Now let's not even discuss the fact that majority of gaps don't fill the week of, right? Majority of gaps won't fill until the next week or even months later. But when we're getting a strike that's way below the gap, right? So even if this gap does fill, we're still clean. Even if this gap fills, we're basically still clean because, all right, worst case, it expires here. We're still going to be up money, right? Like let's pull up the simulated returns just to prove that to you guys. You know, at expiration, it could be at, yeah, let's see. 77.10 was the number, right? So exactly, even if it expires at 77.10, right, which is all the way below this low, we're still going to be profitable on this position, which I really don't see happening. And that's how we've been able to do it this whole entire month, which again, I encourage anyone who's questioning or wants to learn more to watch all the videos just to see everything I've done, see my strategies. You know, it's really simple stuff, right? It's just not getting greedy. That's really the key, because there's been a lot of moments where I wanted to just go ahead and buy the stock. There's been a lot of moments where I wanted to just do covered calls instead of cash secured puts. And yes, maybe at this time I'd be up more money than if I would have been doing what I'm doing right now. And that's the thing about the markets, guys, right? There's always going to be times where you can say, oh, I would have been, if I would have done this, I would have made that, right? But you can't obsess over that, because no matter what you do, you always could have made more, right? You always could have used more money. You always could have taken more leverage, taken a bigger, like there's always, the financial world is infinite, right? Like anytime you make 100, someone makes 1,000. Anytime you make 1,000, someone makes 10,000. Anytime you make 100,000, someone made 10 million. Like, to even get caught in those thoughts is just ridiculous. And that's how you'll go broke. And as someone who has gone broke doing this type of stuff, I can tell you that that's what will make you go broke. Where what'll get you rich is just focusing on slow compounding gains, letting your account grow, and ultimately, you know, if you stick with it long enough, your account gets big enough where those slow gains, they might still be slow in relative to the account, but they're big in the relative of the world, right? That's what it comes down to. If you have $1 million in an account and you're selling options and you're making 30K a month, 50K a month, you know, 100K a month, yes, you could tell yourself, oh, I could have bought 0 date and turned my million into 50 million, but you could have also lost that million tomorrow. Where, you know, how about you don't put yourself in a position to lose that million while still making more money than any job would pay you, period, right? So that's how we've done it. That's what's happened over the last 30 days. We're at 23.6. We're selling DocuSign puts. We're going to be holding this all the way through the earnings report, which comes out tomorrow night. But regardless, I'll be making another video tomorrow. I apologize for not getting the video in yesterday. I know I've been very consistent with getting them every day of the week, or sorry, every weekday since we started this challenge, and I want to continue. Obviously, I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get a video every day. Sometimes life happens, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you've taken a lot from this journey, and I can't wait to continue, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the next video.